Hi, my name is Brad and I'm here in Cuenca in Ecuador at Gaia Sagrada at a San Pedro and Ayahuasca retreat. And as you can see, the views behind me are just incredible. This place is just amazing. And today I want to talk about my first ever Ayahuasca experience. Now, I did a lot of research going in. The reason I came here is because I was suffering with chronic fatigue syndrome. I also wanted to meet like-minded people, which I have definitely done. So getting to the ayahuasca experience, going into it, I was obviously very nervous, and I was tempted to ask Mother Ayahuasca to take it easy on me, to be gentle with me at the start, especially with my first experience, but I didn't do that. Not at first anyway. I said, show me what I need to see. Help me heal, please. Show me what I need to do to heal. And I took the first cup, and I didn't see anything for about 45 minutes. And then my vision started to go a bit blurry. Things started moving around me. And that's when I got a bit freaked out. I felt like I didn't have any control of my body. My legs were going a bit weak and didn't know if I'd be able to stand up if I needed to go to the toilet. Had my purge bucket behind me. Obviously, no one wants to be sick, so I was fearing being sick. But I felt that ayahuasca going through every cell of my body. I'd heard that before, but I really felt it. My legs went cold. I felt it going all the way into my toes. And I felt it was just cleaning me out. There's a lot of dis-ease in there, or disease and illness. And I thought the ayahuasca was just completely cleaning it out, so I thought it's going to clean me out, and then I'm going to have to purge this up. So after a while, the person sat next to me called Christina, who runs this incredible place, and I heard her say something, and something I will say is with ayahuasca, sometimes your senses are incredibly heightened. You can hear everything. Your sense of smell is a lot stronger, and things appear lighter. Obviously you can hallucinate and see things. But anyway, I said to her, Christine, I think I need to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, took my purge bucket with me. And I remember sitting on the toilet, and that is when shit got real. I started to panic a bit. I felt like I was losing consciousness. I was drifting in and out, and I was falling into the bucket. And I thought, oh God, what have I done? And I remember saying to someone who was waiting outside, I felt like I'd been in there for an hour. Apparently it was only 10 minutes. You have no concept of time when you're on ayahuasca. And I said, can you go get Christine? I said, basically I was panicking. I was panicking big time because I didn't know where I was, I didn't know what was going on. I was falling into my bucket, in and out of consciousness. And she ended up helping me out. I went back in. And I remember saying to her, I said, look, I can't do this. I need to go back to my physical body. I'm panicking. And she said, it's too late. And she reminded me I took the red pill. So I couldn't go back. So the next point, I don't remember being in my physical body. I do remember falling over and someone saying, you need to help me with your weight, because they were completely supporting my weight because I had no control. And it turns out I didn't go back to the Maloka where the ceremonies take place. I was actually laid down on a mat near the bathrooms at the top, which is very near the Maloka, probably because they put me down there, and I do not remember being put down there. And that is where my trip started to get real serious. I'm not going to go too much into detail with other people's. I won't go into detail with other people's stories because that's private. But someone was having a hard time. There was some screaming, and I was pretty much unconscious, in my opinion, in terms of I didn't have my eyes open. I was conscious, my mind was conscious, but I didn't have my eyes open. I didn't feel like I was in my physical body. I heard the screaming, and it felt like the screaming was getting louder and louder, almost like it was next to my ear, and it felt like I was here in the middle, and there was peace here, and there was suffering here, and I was getting tugged in both directions. And at first I wasn't sure if that suffering was real, but then I realised it was someone having a hard time, and I was just like saying, relax, and sending them love, but still focusing on me. This was in my head, projecting love to them. And I still felt like I was being dragged towards that suffering, and I thought, is this all actually happening, or some of this in my head? And I definitely thought some of it was in my head. I thought, is it to do with the suffering in the world? And it's hard because it's very hard to observe. People say with ayahuasca, observe, don't interact, but it's extremely difficult because the human brain wants to analyze. So I was thinking, is this suffering in my head? Yes, it's happening, but it was also in my head, or is it the suffering in the world, or is it my suffering that I've been through, and maybe the suffering that I put myself through over the past few years? So I was trying to go towards the peace, and I remember focusing on my breath and breathing deeply, and I remember feeling extremely scared. And at that point, I think it was too late to ask Mother Ayahuasca to be gentle with me. Maybe she was trying, but I was definitely scared. I remember it felt like an eternity. I was saying, I'm so scared, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. And I must have repeated that 1,000 times. And I don't know if that was just because I was scared in the moment, or it's maybe showing me a bit about my life. I've have a lot of anxiety, and well, anxiety is a construct of the mind, and maybe it was showing me that, you know, I can be that scared, but at the end of the day, I got through it because I'm so strong. I remember getting this intuition. I don't know if it was a voice at one point telling me, "You are so strong. You are so strong." There's something crazy that's happened. This is going to sound really random, but I want to learn to play the guitar. I started learning a little bit, and I said I can't play the guitar, and someone said, "Oh, you can, because I could play a tiny, tiny bit." And I got this voice saying, "You can play the guitar." I think it's basically telling me, you know, I can do it. Stop doubting myself, you know. Stop putting myself down. Just believe, have a bit of faith. So after that, when I was laid down, as I said, my eyes were closed, and it was like I was going through dimensions. I was ripping through things and really struggling, and I was actually doing it physically as well. Some of the work exchangers had to hold me down, who are just incredible people. So they held me down a little bit. I remember hitting my head, but I was all right. As I said, they were looking after me. I remember trying to claw through the concrete. I smashed a couple of my crystal bracelets somehow. So it wasn't all in my head. I was actually physically doing things. I don't know if it was letting anger out or I was tearing through dimensions as well. And there was certainly a lot of fear in there, but there was also some incredible experiences. People talk about Mother Ayahuasca being a snake, and I did see a snake at one point in my head, and I also had the feeling of a snake. It was in my body, but it was in my face, in my mouth. I was grinding my teeth, and that was the feeling of a snake. My tongue was doing crazy sorts of things, and if you asked me to do it now, there's no chance I could do it. It was like I'd been taken over, like I'd been possessed, but the ayahuasca was within me. She was cleaning me out of this disease, this illness, and my tongue was doing stuff. I was biting my lip, and it was the feeling of a snake coiling. I caught the inside of my mouth, which is just healing now, 8 days later. And that was almost like, if you imagine a knot, and it was tightening and tightening and tightening. It was a pain. It was in this vicinity, but it didn't feel like it was in my human body. And I don't know why I was doing it. Maybe it was me actually letting out pain and feeling some of the pain that I've felt over the past few years, having been very ill and having been through a lot of pain. So I was falling in and out of consciousness in terms of I was opening my eyes every now and then. I was seeing people who were looking after me, work exchanges, but it was very brief. And I saw Christine, who runs this place, and she was looking after me, and I looked into her eyes. I remember getting lost, and just to mention, I asked her later, I felt like blowing on my chest out every now and then, and she was a big part of my experience. Don't know if she was with me in the other dimension. I felt she was with me and supporting me, and I felt a blow on my chest a few times, and I asked her later what that was, and she was obviously helping me out, but I actually asked her, and she said my heart chakra had stopped. The heart chakra spins constantly, and she said it had actually stopped. Imagine a clock that's broke, and the hand just keeps flickering. So she got that started again. And when I kept opening my eyes, I saw a work exchanger next to me, and I remember looking into her eyes and thinking she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my life. Just pure beauty, pure love. And I actually thought she was Mother Ayahuasca. She embodied Mother Ayahuasca. And I told her after, and she said, well, you know, it's within everyone, and I believe that Mother Ayahuasca was working through her. I remember trying to touch her face, and yeah, I remember hearing her giggle and laugh, and then I was back to my trip and in different dimensions, and I heard a little giggle and I heard the words "come with me," and it's hard to put this in chronological order. I'm trying my best, but I remember hearing that, you know, and I kept going on my journey. I remember I felt like I was going through I was in a different universe, I was going through different worlds, and I felt like I was in a completely different place. And I remember thinking, everything I'd been through here at Gaia before that experience, just a couple of days, I remember thinking, that wasn't real. It was almost like that was the dream. You know, people say this is the dream world, and I felt like that was the dream. I thought that wasn't actually real. I thought everything I'd been through wasn't real. I thought human reality wasn't real, and I felt like I was in this other place, and it was that gut feeling that I was home, that I had always belonged in this other place, and I was back to where I belong. And I thought I died. I said, is this death? And I wasn't scared. I thought, have I died? And that was kind of nice after all that fear, you know, letting go. So I was in these other dimensions, and I honestly thought, this is my home now. I remember questioning myself, like, my family will probably watch this, and I didn't. I said, why am I not thinking about my family? I don't know, maybe it was the ayahuasca was looking more into me and into my healing, and I kind of let that go. I kind of let Mother Ayahuasca take me where I needed to go, and I definitely feel she completely cleaned me out. And when I was saying about the feelings in my face with the snake, at one point I felt like my face was morphing and turning inside out into a monkey. Again, I know that sounds crazy, but if you've taken ayahuasca, you'll probably understand where I'm coming from with this crazy stuff. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention was that during my ayahuasca experience, when I was actually, my eyes were closed, when I was unconscious, obviously I was awake in the dream, or whatever you would like to call it. Christine, who was looking after me, actually asked me something. She said, "What's your name?" And I asked the volunteers if I spoke out loud, but I didn't. I answered in my head whoever I was, and I said, "Brad, wait, I don't know." And I think it was just that I realised I was eternal, you know, I was more than just me, more than just Brad, more than just in this body. And yeah. So when I was feeling scared, I felt I was breathing deeply, and I asked the work exchanger after, I said, "Was I breathing really deeply?" And he said no. He didn't really notice that, but for me, I felt like I was breathing with my whole body. It was almost like I'd been cracked completely wide open, and had all this healing light and energy just purifying me. And it was the most incredible feeling I've ever had in my life. I had been through such an experience earlier in the trip. I was terrified, but that feeling was pure ecstasy. I just felt like I'd been cracked wide open. The air was flowing through my whole body, and I never breathed that deeply in my life. Something to mention, when I did actually wake up, my breathing was incredible. My chest was wide open. So that was a really, really wonderful feeling. And people will ask me, you know, people have asked me if I purged, and the answer is, I purged in the way of yawning. I had, I think, tears coming out my eyes at times, but not crying. My nose was running. I've made some noises, you know, letting things out. Supposedly I was giggling at times, and I looked like a baby. I felt like a baby at times. I actually called someone a baby for some reason. I think I was sick a little bit. I think I went to the bathroom. I definitely went to the bathroom when I was, you know, back in this physical reality. I went to the bathroom later on, and a lot of gunk came out, and, you know, I think that's good. It was letting a lot of disease and illness out of my body. And at one point I felt incredibly lost, and the shamans here are amazing. If you want to come and experience ayahuasca, I can't recommend this place highly enough. The shamans actually speak English, and at one point I felt so lost, and I heard the most beautiful Icaro, and the Icaro is what the shamans sing, and it pulled me back. You know, I was lost. I didn't know where I was, and it pulled me back, and it got louder and louder, and to me it was like Mother Ayahuasca was calling me. She was calling me back. That's the feeling I got, and it was when I heard it, I was thinking, I've heard this before. It felt so familiar, and it was the most beautiful song I have ever heard in my entire life, and I felt pure love, and yeah, it just brought me back to the light. I was so lost at one point, and hearing that, and it was getting louder and louder in my ear again, and it was just unbelievable. As I said, it's hard to put this in chronological order, and I'm still processing, and a lot of stuff's still going to come back to me. It won't all be in this video, I'm sure, but, you know, ayahuasca's from the Amazon rainforest, and at one point I heard the Amazon. I could hear the rain, I could hear all the animals, I could hear the bugs, I could hear the trees, I could hear the earth, and matching that with, I could hear all the howls of the dogs around here, and, you know, it's really overwhelming, especially mixed with, you know, the screams and the suffering that I heard and I could feel deep within me that's in this world. But basically what I've taken out of this experience is that, you know, we came to this physical body to experience being human. You know, we overcomplicate things, we overcomplicate life in general. And throughout my experience, I remember thinking, you know, I was going through my life and I was thinking, I don't care, like all these things coming up, but it was a good feeling. It was basically telling me, stop worrying about everything. Don't be so anxious. Live your life. Follow your passions. Follow your heart. I tend to go to one extreme or the other when I'm doing things, but I've realised it's about having a balance. Don't be so hard on yourself. Anyone watching this, stop being so hard on yourself. Enjoy your life. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, of course, try and help other people. You know, it's that's what we're here to do as well. But don't be so hard on yourself. Stop worrying about the little things. You know, if you look at it from a bigger perspective, imagine being in space and looking down on Earth, and your problems will seem so minute. I'm not saying they're not real problems, but it really helps when you look at it like that, because, you know, life can get shitty at times, but if you remind yourself of this, and you show gratitude for the things you have and the people around you and the things around you, it makes things a lot better. But don't underestimate one small gesture can change someone's life. Even if you're at the supermarket and you tell someone, they have an incredible smile or have a wonderful day, they don't hear that very often. If you want to change the world, do it step by step. If you can put a smile on one person's face, that's amazing. The ripple effect happens, and they'll help change the world too. So basically what I've learned is enjoy life, stop taking life so seriously, have fun, follow your passions, explore, understand that anxiety is something that we create in our minds. Yes, fear is necessary at times because it lets us know what we maybe shouldn't be doing or what is dangerous. But trust yourself, listen to your heart, listen to that gut, listen to that intuition, listen to that higher self that's talking to you, and believe in yourself. Life is incredible. You just got to stop, look around, look where I am right now. I can't quite believe where I am. If you told me a year ago I'd be living on my own, I would have laughed at you. I moved into my own place in December, and if you said you'd be going to Ecuador, the other side of the world, to drink plant medicines which make you hallucinate and all this sorts of stuff, I wouldn't even have entertained the idea. Look where I am. There is no limits. Don't shackle yourself. Just enjoy your life. And if you want to do ayahuasca, and if it's calling to you, by all means do it. If you're watching this video right now, I'm pretty sure it's calling to you. And if you want a place to come, I'd say come to Gaia Sagrada in Ecuador, because this place is incredible and the people here are just amazing, so kind-hearted and compassionate and empathetic, and no matter what happens, you will be fine and you will be looked after. So that is about it from me. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching this much of the video. If you've got this far, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. So thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and I hope you have a wonderful life. And if you take ayahuasca, good luck. I'm sure she will change your life too. Thank you.